Hi, this is Mary Pat from Just Add Students, and I'm going to talk to you today about how I use status of the class. This idea is based on Nancy Atwell's status of the class, and it's slightly different because she does her whole entire class on one sheet, and I put each student on I do a separate sheet for each student. So let me show you what I mean. So I create a calendar for the whole year, and this is what it looks like. I just squish as many pages as I can on the page, and what ends up happening is each student has a page, and I 3-hole punch their page, put it in a binder, and that's my status of the class binder. And what happens is then I collect data on reading for each individual student that I can see over a period of time rather than just one day at a time. I can compare their reading habits over the whole year. So, for example, this is how this would look if this were, let's say this is my student Susie, and we are going to start taking our status on Monday. And so on Monday, I say to Susie, what are you reading? And Susie is reading The Hunger Games. So I'm going to just abbreviate Hunger Games. And what page are you on? I'm on page 40. And then on Tuesday, at the beginning of class, I say to Susie, what are you reading? Susie says, I'm still reading Hunger Games, and I'm on page 41. So I record that information on Susie's page. Then the next day, I say to Susie, what are you reading? And Susie has forgotten her book on Wednesday. So I just make a notation. You can make any kind of shorthand you want to go through status. You'll be flipping through these pages relatively quickly because you just go, after a while, the students will know you're flipping through them in alphabetical order. That's how I do it. And they just know their name is coming up, so they're paying attention so they can give you what their status is. So on Wednesday, Susie forgets her book, and on Thursday, Susie forgets her book. So now we are gathering some data about Susie's reading habits. On Friday, she's absent, so I'm going to use an A for absent. You might want to use an A for absent and an AB for abandon, because you're going to want a notation for abandon. And then Monday rolls around and Susie comes in and she has Hunger Games and she says, I'm still reading Hunger Games. I'm on page 41. At this point, I can see that Susie really isn't making a whole lot of reading progress. She's just picked up books from my bookshelf on these 2 days. She was absent this day and she still hasn't made a whole lot of progress between Tuesday and Monday. So this is the time where you can sit down with her, open your binder up to this page, and say to her, let's look at what your reading progress has been and what's happening. So, of course, there are many reasons why she may have forgotten her book. There may be a reason why she only was able to read 1 page here and 0 pages between here and here. So this is a really great opportunity to open up a dialogue with your students and say, okay, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? And how can we achieve that? Maybe she lost the book and then she found it. Maybe she keeps forgetting the book at home. Maybe you have an extra copy of the book that you can keep in your classroom that will help her have the book available to her. Maybe she just needs to recommit to the book and recommit more time during the day to reading. So this is really wonderful. I love this because you can have something concrete to discuss with your students. And this works both in helping your students recommit to reading independently and to reinforce positive reading habits with students who are reading independently and making great strides. So when you look at their status of the page, for example, let's say that on Monday, Susie read 40 pages, and on Tuesday she read 141 pages. Well, that tells me that she is really investing time somewhere between these 2 class periods to really read. So that's a great opportunity for you to sit down with her, show her, say, hey, you're doing all this great reading. I'm so proud of you. Or I'm so, I know you're really dedicating yourself to your reading. This is wonderful. And give some positive reinforcement to your students this way. So I just really think that status of the class is a great way to help your students get invested in the reading process. If they're not real jazzed up about reading, it's great. You can set goals. You could say to Susie, I want you to read 5 pages, just 5 pages between today and tomorrow. Do you think you can do that? Or ask her, what do you think is a reasonable number of pages that you can read between Monday and Tuesday? Let's set a goal for that. And you can also have, after the conference, you can put your initials and she can initial, so that you both know that you have had a conference on that day. So that's also really powerful when you're, having a discussion about reading progress with parents, learning specialists in school, principals, admins, team teachers, whatever the case may be. You have a little bit of data that you can share with them. So I hope this helps you do status of the class. You can download this free calendar from my website. Just go to my website, justaddstudents.com, and you can find it there in my resource library. And let me know if you do status of the class the same way, or if you have any questions. Happy to help you.